He's back.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Welcome to the Dave Cave. I, as always, am Dave. Now, before we get started, stay on top of all things horror and a little bit of heroes, like reviews, rants, rankings, and reactions. Hit that subscribe and ding the bell so you don't miss a minute. Today I'm going to be talking about the movie that thankfully brings Jason back into Friday the 13th, and that is Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Directed by Tom McLaughlin, Part 6 stars Jennifer Cook as Megan, the final girl, Tom Matthews taking over the reins yet again as a third actor now, playing Tommy Jarvis, much older Tommy Jarvis, and then the man bringing us the very first full-blown zombie Jason, CJ Graham. Part 6 picks up, really we don't know how long after Part 5, but after that one, Tommy Jarvis is still very much messed up by Jason. He's still seeing the visions. He's still struggling with this guy in this encounter that basically has ruined his life. And he's set on a completely just crazy mission to dig up Jason and destroy the body for good. Cremate it, destroy it, whatever. And when he gets there, well, let's just say it doesn't go well at all. He basically sends Jason on a completely new murder spree.
Talk about your all-time backfires.
I'm a pretty mixed bag as far as Part 6 goes, so let's just get into it. Up first, as always, the good. My first entry in the good column probably won't be a shock to many, but absolutely, without a doubt, Jason. I loved Jason in this movie. It's the first full-on zombie, unstoppable, slow, brutal, super strong, super badass Jason. This is the Jason that people think about when they think of Jason. They don't think of sack on the head Jason. They don't even really think of the Jason in Part 3. They think of the mask. But this is the Jason that he gets shot to shit. He is full on a dead body that gets reanimated with lightning. He is the zombie Jason. He is unstoppable, and I absolutely love it. And we get so much more brutality finally back in this one. More on that later, so moving along. The next thing I really liked about Part 6 was the ambiance. The fact that they're back at the camp. It is now Forest Green. It's really Camp Crystal Lake. But they're back at the camp, and it takes place on Friday the 13th. This is the first one that they really, in a long time, have made sure that you know this is Friday the 13th. At the same time, you wonder why Tommy Jarvis would try to go back and whatever, Friday the 13th. But it adds a cool essence to it. It adds a nice little twist. It really makes you dive into the world of it because it matters that it's Friday the 13th. It matters that they're at the camp. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It felt good being in the world. It felt good being there. It felt right to have Jason back at the camp. It felt amazing. I loved it. Now, I purposely made that last section a little bit smaller so I could spend a little bit more time on my last entry, and that is the fact that I gave a shit in this movie. Now, if you've seen my Part 5 review, you understand that I didn't give a shit about really anybody. In this one, I noticeably cared about people. I noticeably cared, well, obviously I care about Tommy. Megan's okay. You have a ton of throw-off characters. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of cannon fodder characters in this movie. And that's okay. I'm getting used to that idea. I think maybe rewatches the other ones, I'll be a little bit more forgiving because this is what we're moving into. But with characters like Paula, the counselor, she has these moments that are very sweet and very kind and very nice. She's an incredibly likable character, especially when she takes that little girl, walks her back to her bed, gives her the whole pep talk of, when things are scary, I would say a prayer and it would make things better. The moment that scene happened, one, it became bluntly apparent that they are absolutely going to kill her ass. But two, it made me very bummed out. I was hoping with someone with that character could make it further. Obviously, right away, Jason's there and he follows her and she has a very brutal kill. But I was hoping that maybe she could. I knew she wouldn't, but I was hoping she could. And that's good. That does something to you. When you have characters that you like and they kill them, It does something to you. I like that. I like that these movies can mess with you. As much of a full-blown slasher as it is, I like that they can draw emotions out of me. I'm someone, I've said before, that likes to dive into movies. I like to give myself to the movie if the movie wants to take me. That leads me into the next thing I liked was the Sheriff Garris. I didn't like him for most of the movie. But by the end, by the time he got to the camp, I liked him. He was a likable dick. He was a dick for most of it, but then you find out, really, that he's a dick with a heart of gold. He's a good dude. I like that. They mess with your head. They mess with your heart. Well done. As much as I love the carnage and the brutality and the blood and the guts and the bleh and the smashes and the this and the that, as much as I love all that, I like to root for the good guys. They're the good guys. I would be one of the good guys. So give me someone I'd like, and you'll win. Now, despite this next section not having as many entries as the good section, I feel just as strongly in my dislike as I do for my like. Keeps it kind of even for me. So let's move into the bad. The first entry in the bad column is the campy levity. There's not a lot of it, but where it really sticks out is the paintball scene. Now, I understand that we get some kills in that scene, but aside from the kills, it felt like it was right out of Police Academy, which that's not to knock Police Academy, but this was a Friday the 13th movie. It was silly. It completely cut any... I understand the idea of cutting tension, but it completely cut any interest I had in the movie. When that happened, when they were going through and having the paintball and the people arguing, and you have the dorky guy and you have the guy that got out, but he's still hacking around with a machete, Roy, it was like, I didn't care. I stopped caring about the movie. I picked my phone up, and then I realized, holy shit, no, don't pick your phone up. Put it down. Pay attention. I shouldn't feel that way. Have my attention. The paintball scene completely took me out of it. I didn't care. It was silly. It didn't feel like Friday the 13th, even when Jason was there. Sure, it gave him the machete, and they have 4 kills. Well, 5 if you count the later found dismembered body. But you have 4 kills there, and they were all just like, oh, okay, there's Jason, and he did a hack, and pulls a guy's arm off and leaves a blood smear on a tree that has a smiley face. Like, come on. Cut that whole scene out. Give Jason a machete some other way. Cut the whole scene out. It's bullshit. Now, for my next entry in the bad column, the paintball scene's a little bit guilty of this too, was the way music was used. Now, I don't mind Alice Cooper at all. In any way, shape, or form. I'm fine with it. The music was enjoyable as the music. But the way they used the music in this one, it gave a sense of them wanting you to enjoy Jason. Not enjoy being afraid of Jason. Enjoy Jason. Be happy you're watching the movie. Not get the thrill of being fearful of him. Don't get the thrill of the kills. Enjoy him. We're going to make this lighter. We're going to give you a lighter soundtrack. You're going to make you like this movie. Not be terrified and like it. We're just going to have you like it. That's not what I'm here for. I want to like being scared. And I wasn't. And the music was a big part of that. As I said, starting the bad column, there weren't going to be as many entries, but those 2 really mattered to me. I really didn't like them. So let's move on to another good part of the film, the juiciness, the kills. For the kills in part 6, it was very interesting because you have varying different levels of delivery when it comes to kills. Because you have brutal kills, you have cutaway kills, and then you also have a combo of the 2 that happens sometimes, which keeps you on your toes when it comes to a kill scene, because the kills are kind of telegraphed. You know when they're going to be coming. Sometimes it might be a quick stab, throw over his head. Other times it might be pressing someone's face through a wall. Other times it might be just throwing a throwing knife. It keeps you guessing, and I liked that. I liked not knowing what we were going to get, but I also liked that we did get a fair amount of brutality. Overall, I'd say the kills were satisfying in this one, except for the Roy one during the paintball scene when he was thrown and his bloody face made a smear on a smiley face, and I rolled my eyes so hard they almost rolled out of my fucking head. I was so just about that kill. But overall, satisfying. I liked them. They got the job done. And the reason they worked so well for me with compared to the ones in Part 5 was that they were varied and they were inventive. Jason killed people in a lot of different ways, which you can get when you have an 18-person body count, but they were varied. You had a lot of very interesting kills. You had a head twist off. You had him punch, I think it was a heart, out through the guy's back. But then you also had very quick stab to the temple. You had, like I said, stab, throw over his head. It was awesome. There were some very good kills. Even when it was a cutaway, it was brutal. And I very much liked that. But among all that, there absolutely were standouts. And of those standouts, my award for favorite kill of the film, absolutely, this is very much without a doubt, goes to Sheriff Garris. He's fighting Jason, kicking Jason's ass, by the way, until really Jason decides, all right, we're done. And he bends him over backwards. It was a very gnarly kill because there's not a lot of gore associated with that. But you know, getting bent backwards is not a good time in any way, shape, or form. None of these kills really are a good time. But that kill is especially brutal because all Jason does is, and he's done. What's so awesome in addition to all that is the fact that, as I mentioned before, Sheriff Garris is a butthole for most of the movie. And then when he gets to Camp Crystal Lake, I really started to like him because you understood that he's this asshole with a heart of gold. He's not just an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. He is a protector, absolutely. And then he sends the kids in the cabin, and he gets away from Jason after shooting the shit out of Jason. Gets away from him, and then Jason is going to go after Megan, and he sacrifices himself. Goes after Jason and gets a lot of good licks in. Smashes the shit out of Jason, really, until Jason decides it's game over. But before that, you have this heart of gold kick the shit out of Jason. The kill was good. The lead-up was good. The character development up to the kill was good. Really, I couldn't ask for anything better. Thank you very much for your service, Sheriff Garris. Now for my question of the day, because there were a lot of contenders for what could have been my favorite kill, and there was an 18-person body count. Which was your favorite? Hit the comments. Let me know. Now for some of my final thoughts for Part 6, Jason Lives. Part 6 was a solid entry. I didn't love it. Definitely didn't hate it. But it did its job. It felt like Friday the 13th, like I said. You have very good kills, a very good Jason. I dug it. Again, there wasn't a recap, which, as I've said before, if you watch my earlier reviews, you know that I wasn't a big fan of those. Hopefully that's the new MO. I thought it was very interesting that they completely gloss over the end of Part 5 in this one. I understand that we still have Tommy having psychological problems because of Jason. I get behind that, that's fine. But you ended Part 5 with him potentially killing Pam. Did he kill Pam? Did he try to kill Pam? Was it all in his head? What was it? We don't really know. We can assume that he didn't kill her or he would have been in jail or still very much institutionalized, but we don't really know. We don't know what happened with that, but we're expected to completely forget about it, despite the fact that this was a year later. 85, 86, boom, boom. They release these movies very fast. I'm very surprised by that. But you have no downtime. People would remember that Tommy Jarvis was going to kill somebody in the last one, but they take that, ball it up, throw it out the window, and hey, guess what? Tommy Jarvis is a full-blown good guy superhero in this one. Okay, I mean, I can get behind it. I like the character. I like the guy in this one. But I got some whiplash on that. I'm like, are we going to talk? We're not going to talk. This is just going to be he's a super good guy. Okay. I could absolutely see, as of right now, putting Part 6 in randomly. Just to have it on in the background. Maybe even put it on like a 31 Days of Halloween list that I like to do every year. I could see it making to that. I had that good a time with it. And it definitely has me intrigued for Part 7, continuing the story of Tommy Jarvis, because, you know, he's not dead and, you know, Jason's coming back. So I'm very curious to see where they go with Tommy and how they get Jason out of the bottom of a lake. I would imagine it has to do with divers because Jason's not actually dead, which I thought was cool. They have him just kind of like a idle mode until he is unleashed again. I dug that. While I go get ready to watch Part 7, if you haven't already, I did reviews for Part 1 through 5. I have links to all 5 of those in the description below. Go check those out, and while you're down there, I have links to my Instagram and Twitter. They're both at @thedavecave_. Post over there when I'm not posting here, and that is going to do it for me today. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping by the Dave Cave. I'll see you all on Thursday for part 7, but until then, take care.